agreeing and disagreeing, natural English phrases for saying yes, saying no, and staying polite in between. Welcome to Beemaster 79. A quick note before we begin. Daniel and Priya are invented characters, and every dialogue and example sentence in this video was written as a teaching construct. They are not recordings of real conversations. The phrases themselves are standard, widely used English. By the end of this lesson you will be able to agree strongly and agree only partly without sounding repetitive. You will disagree politely so the other person stays comfortable. You will disagree firmly when you really need to hold your position. You will use softeners to take the edge off a strong opinion. And you will hear all of it inside two natural conversations. Let us start with strong agreement. Absolutely, that is exactly how I see it. I could not agree more. You have got a point there. Exactly what I was thinking. That makes a lot of sense. Notice that none of these is simply the word yes. In English, a full phrase sounds warmer and more engaged than a single word. Very often you agree with part of what somebody says but not all of it. I agree up to a point. That is true, although it depends. I see what you mean, but there is something in that. In some ways, yes, I would agree if it were simpler. These are the most useful phrases in this whole lesson because real conversations are rarely fully one way or the other. Now, polite disagreement. I am not sure I agree. I see it a little differently. I take your point, but that is one way of looking at it. Actually, I had a different impression. Do you think so? I wonder about that. Each one leaves the door open. You are signaling that you might still be persuaded. Sometimes you do need to be firm. I have to disagree with you there. I really cannot accept that. That is not how I remember it. With respect, I think that is wrong. I am afraid I see it quite differently. No, that does not match the figures. Use these when the point genuinely matters. If you use them for everything, they lose their force. Here is the same idea at two different temperatures. On the left, warmer. I see what you mean. I take your point, but I wonder about the cost. On the right, cooler. That is not right. The cost makes that impossible. The cooler versions are not rude, exactly. They are just bare. In most workplaces and most exams, the warmer version is the safer choice. Or softeners do most of the heavy lifting. First hedge before you commit. I am not sure. I wonder if it might be that. Second, acknowledge, then turn. I take your point, but third, ask instead of telling. Do you think so? Have you considered? And fourth, own the opinion. To me it feels, in my experience, that last one turns a fact you are asserting into a view you are offering. Let us hear these in use. Daniel and Priya are talking about working from home. Listen for strong agreement, and then for agreement that is only halfway. I think working from home 2 days a week suits our team much better.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. People get far more done on those days.
And the office feels calmer on Tuesdays now.
I agree up to a point. It is calmer, although the new starters do miss the help.
You have got a point there. Maybe they should come in more often at first. Now a harder situation. Priya wants to move a deadline and Daniel does not think it will work. Listen to how he disagrees without damaging the mood.
So we move the deadline forward a week. Everyone can manage that.
I am not sure I agree. Design would only get 3 days for the review.
That is one way of looking at it, but the client is waiting.
I take your point. Could we keep the date and cut the second review instead?
There is something in that. Let us put it to the team on Monday.
For things that sound harsher than you mean. Saying you are wrong is very direct in English and almost always too strong at work. Starting your reply with the word no lands heavily, so try a softener first, then your point. Saying I am agree is a grammar slip. Agree is the verb on its own. I agree. And repeating yes, yes, yes stops sounding sincere. Vary it. Quick check. Your manager suggests a plan you think is risky. Which reply is polite but honest? A. No, that will not work. B. I take your point, but I am a little worried about the timing. C. Absolutely, whatever you think. Have a think. The answer is B. It acknowledges the idea first and then states the concern gently. A is too blunt, and C hides your real opinion. Take these 5 away. Strong agreement. Absolutely. I could not agree more. Partial agreement. I agree up to a point. There is something in that. Polite disagreement. I am not sure I agree. I see it differently. Firm disagreement. I have to disagree with you there. And the pattern that carries you through almost any conversation. Acknowledge first, then turn. I take your point, but... Now try it yourself. Pick one phrase from each group and use it this week. Say them out loud until they feel automatic. If this helps, subscribe to BMaster79 for more English and IELTS lessons. Thanks for watching.